We didn't minimize enough negativity. We didn't stay on schedule enough. And so drives get stalled or you settle for field goals. And so it was a perfect storm for us offensively and defensively from that perspective. They established a run and played behind it on their offense. They created inefficient things, and we didn't work efficient on the other side of the ball, and thus the outcome.
Hi, everybody. A bad day in Houston for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm Missi Matthews. Welcome to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface, a 30-6 loss. We're going to break it all down for you in terms of what went wrong. Let's welcome in our panelists, though, today. To get things started, we have Mike Prisuta of the WDVE Morning Show and Steelers.com, Max Starks of the Steelers Radio Network, and same with Wes Uhler. First time on the show. Wes, we'll get you through on this one, but we're very glad to have you here with us. So let's just generally speak about what happened in Houston. Mike, I'll start with you. Just a quick overview of how you would sum up this loss.
I thought it would be about 30-6. I thought it would be about 30-6 the other way. To sum it up, I'm still scratching my head as to how a team such as the Steelers that has the edge combination that the Steelers possess was unable to dominate an offensive line that had a guy playing his first career NFL offensive snaps and a rookie sixth-round pick and Kendrick Green. I'm still not – I saw it. I know what happened. I still don't know why it happened, guys.
Max?
Well, I can tell you this, Mike. Houston did not have a problem. That's the first thing. we were hoping that we would have caused that problem, but it did not happen. And you're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, one of the ways that, C.J. Stroud and this offense, they use the Steelers' strengths against them. Pass rush, guess what? How do you neutralize a pass rush? A, you don't run the ball that often. When you do run the ball, run it efficiently. Get 4 yards of carry. Check. Second, the second they start to get pressure, throw screens up the middle. They did that as well. We did nothing to stop that aspect of it to allow TJ and Alex to have an opportunity. They kept in tight bunch formations. You saw a lot of tight ends in there, fullbacks, tight wide receiver sets to make sure that you could funnel TJ and Alex to the tackles to where they had to go almost bull rush the entire time. And when they did have an edge, quick throws under 3 seconds, ball in hand time for CJ Stroud. They just had a better game plan. And transversely, our offense didn't have a game plan to complement what the Texas defense was trying to do. They blitzed, they were aggressive, they hit us in the mouth in the first half, and then we were reeling afterwards.
Wes, what about you?
Yeah, Missy, and I would just add, it felt like that this was the week we were going to see the Steelers take another step forward, and instead they kind of stagnated, right? You took a tough one against a great opponent to open the season against San Francisco, but then better against Cleveland, better against Vegas, and it thought like, okay, here comes another step forward against a young team, a team with a new coaching staff. You thought you'd have the continuity advantage, and just really from the jump, none of that was the case.
All right, let's stick with the Steelers offense. And as we know, not only the loss of the game, but also some key players. Kenny Pickett left with a knee injury. Same with Dan Moore. First-round pick Broderick Jones replaced him. Also, Pat Freiermuth left with a hamstring injury. But all that said, even in the first half, Mike, it just felt like we weren't seeing them come together, as Wes was saying, building off of the win in Las Vegas, and even a play similar to what they hit on in Las Vegas went terribly wrong.
Yeah, the one we just saw, the deep post to Calvin Austin. He was open, single coverage, ball gets underthrown. Now, it wouldn't have counted as a touchdown because there was holding on the Steelers, but at least it wouldn't have been an interception had they completed that. And I think that's one of the things, I still think that's one of the things this team needs to do. We're seeing repeatedly in these games, teams are not respecting their ability to throw the deep ball. They're daring them to throw the deep ball. We saw it on the first third down of the season. Kenny Pickett decided not to throw it. Later on, you saw it in Vegas. They hit it, boom, long range, splash, touchdown. This was an opportunity for another one, and you see what happens instead. You make one of those early in the game, I think it changes not just the tone and the tenor of the game, but it changes how the defense is going to play you in the game. And I think that would have definitely benefited the Steelers had they done a little better job there. Probably, 3, 4, 5 plays, even in a 30-6 game, that you can go back and circle? Well, if you would only have executed this one, then that would have happened, and then maybe something different ultimately would have happened.
Yeah, I mean, there were some moments that were not capitalized on. There was, and the first half was the first half. It was abysmal. We couldn't get anything going. I mean, when you think about it, it was interception, punt, punt, punt. That's how the first 4 series went. I look at in the second half, in that third quarter specifically, there were moments where we saw the domination. We saw a spark of a pissed off Najee Harris, and that yielded great results. He got about as green as my shirt, it felt like, and he was turning into like mini running back Hulk. And there was a moment we had an opportunity, that 3rd and 2 down in the goal line area, right from the 5. Najee got us all the way down there. I mean, the play before that amazing, not the play before, but a couple of plays before, where he had that ridiculous pass catch when Kenny rolled out to his left, put it on Najee, and Najee shook one guy off, did a spin move, came up, and then drug like 3 guys down to the 5-yard line. That was a moment where it's like, okay, he's in the zone. Get that guy the ball. Instead, you take him out, you insert Jaylen Warren. And then that play, that delayed kind of handoff, he runs right up the back of his offensive lineman, gets bounced back, tries to kick it to the right, tackle for a loss. And the frustration from there mounted. We settle for a field goal. Then the very next drive, we have a pivotal 4th and 1. And everybody knows what that is, the play that I'm talking about. Why aren't we going? We were in 3rd and 1 earlier in the game. We rushed the ball. We got the first down. Another 3rd and 1, rush, got a first down. This 4th and 1 was a huge momentum shift where you could have taken the air out of the sails in that stadium. And we come out after timeout and we run from shotgun. And we know what happened after that. We lost Kenny Pickett on that play. But that was a moment where you had trust in your offensive line. You had the momentum in your favor. And the game completely changed after that moment. That was a defining moment in the game where you could have got things back on your side, and it was a missed opportunity.
And Wes, I think too, the Steelers players talked about it all week. They knew that they were going to go back and watch that San Fran game and be able to do that with their defense for obvious reasons. What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, you need to credit D'Amico Ryans and their staff as well, too. They clearly had that San Francisco blueprint and were able to execute it. But kind of going with what Max said there as well, too, despite what felt like a disaster first half, at 16-0, you weren't out of that game still in the third quarter if you were able to get that run game moving and find the end zone. All of a sudden, 1-score game and you're right back in it. The defense able to do enough there at the end of the first half to at least force field goals and keep it manageable, keep it within 2 possessions. But yeah, it just seemed like as soon as the Steelers found something that they could hang their hat on, something that started working, they turned away from it. So yeah, a lot of questions there. You can look at that both ways. They were able to get that run game going despite the struggles early on. Maybe that's something to build on as you get ready for Baltimore. But they're going to need something, moving to Mitch Trubisky here, that they know that they can do successfully. And that feels like the best opportunity to find that going forward is with number 22, Najee Harris, and hope that he can build on that second half that he had down there in Houston.
All right, let's take a listen to some of the offensive players in the locker room after the loss.
It's us, you know what I'm saying? We knew the game plan coming in and what they were going to present and, force us to get on long drives. And we just didn't, execute enough to put those long drives together.
One bad or negative run will scare us away from it, and we're behind the chains, and we're trying to catch up, and you get in bad situations. So we just have to be more consistent across the board. We're just not good enough consistently.
Number one thing, whatever play comes in, you got to execute it. All 11 guys got to be on the same page. For me, what I've been seeing from the sidelines is we got to stay ahead of the chains, stay out of those third and long situations, and when you get in the red zone, score. It all sounds pretty obvious, but it's easier said than done.
And that is correct. Mike, what do you want to see them do to be able to turn this thing around offensively?
I'd like to see him do what Mitch Trubisky suggested right after that clip cut off. He said, got to play with some more heart. Some more heart would help this offense. And I think relative to what Max was talking about with Najee Harris a moment ago. The first half was bad. Of course, you want to get off to better starts. But Najee Harris came out of that locker room breathing fire. And from what I could tell watching it on TV, that made one of them. And I think the team, this is going to sound kind of cliched, but I think the team needs to dig down a little bit and decide what kind of team it wants to be. Part of the problems thus far have been negativity, right? Mike Tomlin's referenced this. You have a negative play and it sets you behind the chains. Okay, get over it. If you get a holding penalty, it shouldn't necessarily be a drive killer. If you lose some yards on a run, that shouldn't stop you cold. I really liked what I saw from Harris in the second half of that game. Not many silver linings to cling to other than that, but I think it was a significant one. And maybe a reminder to the rest of the team that, hey, I think I'm giving everything I've got to give, but maybe if I dig down a little bit, I have a little bit more.
There's always more, Prisuta. There's always more. When you get to the bottom, you just keep chipping away. No, but I think
so. There's some validity
right
in that.
There is. There's always more because, you never know when you tap into that rage factor, and at different points in your career, you've been as a former player, you know what that moment is, and I think you have those tipping points. You have those. I think this was a tipping point for the team. The way that they felt coming off the sidelines towards the end of that game, the frustration I saw can either empower you or it can paralyze you. And this is the crux moment where you decide which direction you want to go. I saw from Najee Harris, he was empowered by it because he was pissed when he got took off the field for that 3rd and 2. And he gave the 1,000-yard stare and looked through everybody on that sideline. And then you saw what happened the very next drive. He came out there, like you said, breathing fire. So how does everybody else respond to that? As an offensive line, you heard Mason Cole up there talking about we're not consistent enough consistently. Yeah, that's where you have to dig inside yourself, say, what can I do? What's my 1/11th that I can provide to make sure that I count in that slice of the pie? I want to make sure I do everything in my power because, honestly, that's where I'm at with them. I can't sit there and throw gasoline on the play caller. I can't throw gasoline on specific players because it has to be a totality of team execution before you can start parsing the straws. Right now, it's a whole big mess, and you have to eliminate one issue to know where the other one is. It's like diagnosing on an electrical circuit, right? I have to figure out where this one part is as I go through all the different circuits. Where's the bad wire?
I don't know how to do that.
You got to have all
make
of those.
another analogy. I'm not.
That's okay, but Missi and Wes
engineer.
are nodding. So I'm going with that.
And by the way, just to follow up, Trubisky said he was speaking for the offense because that's what players do. They speak for their side of the ball. But a little more hard on defense. I wouldn't turn that down either.
No, absolutely not, especially when you think about run defense. Now, I can point that one out. Run defense has to be better. For a team that came into that game struggling with the run defense, they set the tone early and they set their intentions on, we got a bad patchwork offensive line, so we've got to make it work. And they ran the ball down the Steelers' throat, and Dameon Pierce ran angry almost the entire game. So that if I'm picking anywhere, I'm starting with run defense because then after that, if you could stop the run, now you unleash the hounds on the edge.
Well, good news, Max, because we're going to take a quick break. And when we return, we're going to talk about the Steelers' defense giving up 451 total yards of offense, including 139 on the ground. We'll be right back. You're watching The Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface.
Want to get gear direct from the team? Shop all things black and gold at the official Steelers Pro Shop located at Acrisure Stadium. Get the latest sideline apparel and hats, jerseys of your favorite players, authentic memorabilia, custom gear, and exclusives you can only find here. Don't forget, you aren't game day ready without a terrible towel. The Steelers Pro Shop has everything you need to be part of the legendary Steelers Nation. Come experience the Acrisure Stadium shopping environment or shop online at shop.steelers.com.
You know, they ran the ball with consistency on us throughout. We deferred in an effort to get ourselves off to a fast start potentially, and you know, I thought they did a nice job of establishing tempo, and they ran the ball on us, man. We got to be better versus the run. We're not going to get what we desire to get defensively until we settle the run down. We didn't do that today.
All right, I'm Missy back with Mike, Max, and Wes. Now we're going to talk about the Steelers defense and their performance in Houston. Wes, what do you think the biggest thing was after hearing Coach Tomlin in terms of stopping the run, why things weren't working?
Yeah, it's obviously multiple things, right? But for me, it's just being more physical at the point of attack. We all know Cam Hayward is a massive loss for that defensive line, but even if you had big 97 out there right now, it's not like that would be a cure-all to all their issues. Whether it's Lario, Leal, Benton, Loudermilk, whoever, they've just got to win more at the point of attack. They're getting pushed back too often, which in turn makes life more difficult on your interior linebackers, and they're not able to fire off like they want to. So you need more physicality, more success at the point of attack in the box, and then you need your linebackers to be able to take advantage of that. And then I think just better tackling on the perimeter as well, too. We've seen a lot of missed tackles out in space throughout these first 4 games. So, you know, until you get 97 back, you got to start to find some solutions, and that's where I think I would begin. You got to have physicality at the point of attack. You got to free up your linebackers, and you just need to be more steady-handed, more sure tackling on the perimeter.
Max, are you surprised with a patchwork offensive line that the Steelers' defensive unit as a whole wasn't able to take advantage?
I was very surprised. I looked at that group and I was like, okay, there's an opportunity. You have a center that's a rookie. You got Kendrick Green, who we should know better than anybody else at one of the guards. And you had George Fant, journeyman right tackle that was there. And then you had 2 practice squad call-ups playing the left tackle position. I don't care who else you had on that offensive line. That right there lets you know that you had matchup advantage to the Steelers.
And Max, the center wasn't just a rookie, 6th round rookie, not Marquise Pouncey rookie. They drafted a guy in the 2nd round to be the center. He's on IR. So I think it was they were down to left tackle number 3, center number 2, left guard number 2 or 3. They were well down on the depth chart, Houston. Yeah, no,
they were very depressed. But what they did well, and what they did to complement that, they took a page out of San Fran's book. They lined up 2 tight ends, or if they didn't go 2 tight ends, tight end fullback. They utilized tight bunch sets into the line of scrimmage to create those funnels so that you could take an Alex Highsmith or a TJ Watt out of the game. I saw cross motion a couple times where ball was going to the left and they were cracking back on TJ to the right. At one point, I saw the fullback just dive and it looked like a spear right into TJ's gut. I mean, they were doing everything to neutralize 56 and 90. And that's when you have to say, in the middle of this group, okay, now what do I do if I'm Leal? What do I do if I'm Loudermilk? What do I do if I'm Benton or Adams? I now need to take advantage of the attention that's being given there. And so now they start knifing through the line, but then they start running screens to kind of neutralize that. They just had a better game plan and a better tempo with which they did. And then, of course, the two young receivers, Nico Collins and Tank Dell, they absolutely made our secondary look silly at points and beating us on some very easy route concepts. So it was a total team effort on the defeat for the defense, and just being out of position, not playing your position properly, and then just not executing. I think that's the other thing. I think everybody on defense was waiting for somebody else to make a play, as opposed to taking it upon themselves, saying, hey, I'm going to go make the play.
Trev, there's a lot of stats you can look at and say, okay, this equals a loss. But for Minkah Fitzpatrick, 11 tackles versus the Texans. He set the franchise record in 2021. That's not what you want from that position.
Not usually, though. They've used him a lot down in the box this year and played more single high and used some different center fielders trying to get him to the football. I'll give you a stat that screams loss. The Texans had 8 rushing first downs in their first 3 games. They had 9 yesterday.
Ooh.
Think about that for a minute. It's a team that averaged 2.8 yards a carry in the first 3 games, and yesterday didn't get over 4, but the amount of times that the Texans rushed the ball, and the amount of yards they gained really added up. I'm in full agreement with Mike Tomlin. That dictated everything for the Houston offense.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for being with me today to try to break this down. It's AFC North football next on tap with the Ravens coming to Acrisure Stadium.
Hey, Max, I got a light switch at my house. Can you come over and take a look at it?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be over there on
Okay,
Saturday.
thanks.
Don't worry.
We'll go from the plane straight to your house.
Max did help me this summer, true story, fix a leaky hose at my house in the backyard. So he knows what he's talking about.
A man of all
Green
trades.
shirt, green therm.
All right, guys, thanks again, and thanks for watching. This has been the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. We'll see you back here next Monday.